Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. ICAI presents CA Business Leaders 40 Under 40 Season 2 in association with CNBC TV 18. Process partner, Care Edge Ratings.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the virtual town hall of ICAI presents CA Business Leaders Awards 40 Under 40 in association with CNBC TV 18. The prestigious Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, popularly known as ICAI, in association with CNBC TV 18, recently organized an event, the CA Business Leaders 40 Under 40 Awards in Mumbai, to recognize and honor the exemplary contributions of young, outstanding CAs who have demonstrated excellence as CA professionals. Now, to celebrate the achievements of these young, dynamic achievers, numerous industry leaders, dignitaries, and key ICAI representatives gathered at the event. Through this town hall today, we will discuss all these strategies and the way forward for India becoming the land of economic opportunities and gaining the trust of the world. And well, to take this discussion further, I'm very pleased to introduce my esteemed guest from ICAI. Let's welcome our first guest, CA Aniket Sunil Talati, President, ICAI. Let's also welcome CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwal, Vice President, ICAI. We are very pleased to have with us CA Durgesh Kabra, Chairman, CMIB, ICAI. And last but not the least, CA Rohit Ruvatia, Vice Chairman, CMIB, ICAI. Well, let me start with you, Mr. Aniket. Now, how can the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI, through the pivotal role of chartered accountants, contribute to and strengthen India's current growth trajectory for global leadership?
The third largest economy in the world. We are today currently the fifth largest economy with a market cap close to $3.75 trillion and the country aiming to become one of the top economies of the world in the coming few years. And of course, the target of becoming a developed economy by 2047. This is possible with the all-round development that is happening in the economy, in the manufacturing sector, services sector, and of course, through the new and upcoming startups and the MSMEs, which are ever growing and contributing to the Indian economy. The role of chartered accountants has been extremely crucial in ensuring that businesses, small or big, and of course the MSMEs and the startups, guiding them in ensuring that they are in the right side of the law, are compliant, and also prepare their financial statements in accordance with the best practices globally.
My next question to you is, Mr. Agarwal. Now, how do you foresee charting the financial trajectory of businesses in the upcoming decade, especially in navigating through the evolving global landscape?
We are really in the golden era, and wherever the growth is there, the role of chartered accountants are there, because the chartered accountants' role are directly linked with the growth and development of the country. As the India is the youngest country, so as the Institute of Chartered Accountants India, which is now the 400,000 member and 8.5 thousand students. These are the 12.5 lakh member, which is making it one of the largest accounting body of the world.
Coming to you now, Mr. Kabra, how critical do you think is it for businesses to capitalize on favorable policies and regulations in today's dynamic economic environment?
So you are talking of the cashing on of the various favorable policies by the businesses.
Correct.
Let me tell you that the Indian businesses are such that they normally do encash all these kind of policies. And in this current scenario where this government is there, is focusing more on ease of doing business. And they are making a lot of policies which are favorable to businesses. Maybe it with respect to the tax regime, maybe it with capital grant, maybe it with social causes, maybe it with the environmental standards, may it be with the GST regime, may it be with respect to other compliances. As far as these various compliances are there. The Indian leading corporates are doing wonderfully well, and they are on the job of encashing, or rather I would say caching, the various policies of the government of India and following them. And that is why the time has changed for Indian entrepreneurs and business houses. So we are going global now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kabra. Coming to you now, Mr. Rohit, we've kind of understood the existing initiatives and what the ICAI or the CAs are doing. Could you also shed light on the expanding role of the CAs and CFOs in leading this growth story? You know, some of the future initiatives and some of also, while they're at it, the challenges that they may encounter.
We can see that the changing time in the profession. This time we have bought the new curriculum of the CA education, and it was inaugurated by Honorable President of the country, Draupadi Murmuji. The kind of curriculum which we have bought this time, with the changing phase of time, in past 75 years of the institute, because institute is also running in the 75th year, the changes which we have brought in the system that has encountered us, which we can see now, if we call related to the startups, out of 100 unicorns, in more than 5 unicorns, the founders are chartered accountants. And we can see in almost all the PSUs, all the banks, the government has given a policy that the CFOs should be chartered accountants. In all the private entities, all the entities where public is substantially interested, the chartered accountants playing a crucial role, becoming CEOs, CFOs, and even we can see the managing director or the owner of various top companies. By this event 40 under 40, we can see possibly in next 10 years, out of these 40 chartered accountants who have been awarded, maybe they would be the top leaders in their respective entities.
Now, with that, we end our discussion here. Thank you once again, gentlemen, for sharing your valuable thoughts. With that, it's now time for us to welcome our 40 business leaders. We've decided to group them into batches. Now, we all have gathered here this morning to have your viewpoints on the strategies and ways forward for India becoming the land of economic opportunities and gaining the trust of the world. I would like to first invite Amit Dhruv.
We're going to have a 20% of world workforce and based out of India, a relatively younger population. Can we lead in the services and manufacturing? And I think that can be unlocked through the women workforce participation, which can move to 50%, and which is a large unlock we can do. The another second thought is, can we lead in the supply chain and the world manufacturing? And the last thought on this is about, can we become more digital economy with 650 million digital internet users, with 350 million consumer joining the digital and e-commerce.
Now I'm inviting another Amit Kanodia.
So my thought on in India becoming a land of economic opportunity is like the first thing we should prioritize on the digital transformation and ensure how the technology reaches all the sectors of the world, India, like the MSME and also the farmers at a low cost technology, so everyone can afford this kind of technology. And second, I would feel that secondly, we should also focus on the FDI investment, which generate a lot of investment in India and help to grow our economy faster in terms of the growth.
I would now like to call Amit Maheshwari to present his views.
Just coming back on India to become the land of economic opportunities and gaining the trust of world, I see it as 4 wheels of a car, which has to be balanced to pick up high speed. Firstly, economic reforms must be prioritized. Streamlining regulations, simplifying bureaucratic processes, and ensuring ease of doing business will attract both domestic and foreign investors. Secondly, investing in infrastructure is pivotal. Robust transportation network, efficient logistics, and digital connectivity are backbone of thriving economy. Thirdly, a focus on innovation and research and development. This is very imperative.
Calling our next and our last Amit on the list, Amit Radhesham Modani.
India is clearly becoming a new land for economic opportunities, and being, to supplement that as a nation building, government of India has already devised some of the good policies to in that area, basically through PLI schemes, might be through Make in India, might be Startup India, and might be Digital India. So that's where the government is very much devised to transform India into a global design, I would say, and a manufacturing hub.
Thank you, Amit. And calling on now the last name from this batch, Aniket Bhalachandra Nikum.
The three drivers I see in terms of the economic opportunities for India are, first, I think to become the knowledge capital of India, it will be surprising for a lot of people to know that JP Morgan, which has no real business in India, has more employees here than the US. So you can already see us exporting a lot of talent. I think the second one is manufacturing in India. Today, 25% of iPhones are manufactured here. Samsung is setting up a large facility and so on. So we are able to prove that our manufacturing capabilities are coming at par with where global leaders are. And lastly, I think we're just starting to see this Indian consumer brands now glowing global.
Well, it's now time for a short break. We will be back soon and hear more from these young minds who are sharing their views and strategies on the way forward for India becoming the land of economic opportunities.
ICAI presents CA Business Leaders 40 Under 40 Season 2 in association with CNBC TV 18. Process partner, CareEdge Ratings.
Welcome back to the virtual town hall of ICAI presents CA Business Leaders Awards 40 Under 40 in association with CNBC TV 18. Let's continue with the next batch of winners. And this is the second batch. Let's start with you now. Your views on the strategies and ways forward for India becoming the land of economic opportunities and gaining the trust of the world is what we would like to know. Let's begin with Dinesh Kumar Bansal.
I believe India is already a land of economic opportunities. And it's just the how quickly we become Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is the vision of the Prime Minister of India. So if we go back to the basics, typically what we learned, three things are critical for the growth of any economy, which is the land, labor, and capital. And from all perspectives, we are well placed at this moment. Most of the countries across the world is striving for the growth, whereas India is growing at more than 5% in last 1 decade, and it's expected to grow at the same speed. So that is the reason I think India is already a land of economic opportunity. It's how fast we can grow.
Next, we have with us Gaurang Desai.
For me, to become the land of opportunities, India needs to do definitely certain things. They're already doing certain things, but there are certain areas where we need to focus. One primary thing that I feel is, providing the healthcare facilities to our people. There are primary health centers being launched. There are Swachh Bharat mission that is being launched, but we need to do a bit there so that our people are empowered to be a part of this great journey.
Let's listen in to what Kunal Varinder Neena Jain has to say.
As part of my role, I do interact with investors across the globe. And I think one of the things which is extremely important for someone to come in, and which was also part of the topic there, creating trust, that trust factor. And that requires that amount of predictability and collaboration when it comes to regulations. A regulatory framework needs to be extremely stable for anyone coming in. Else for them, it's like the rules of the game changing while they are actively playing it rather than it being known.
And the last name from this batch is of Mayuresh Ravindra Mukadam.
Well, I believe that we are already a land of economic opportunity, and we see that from, there are several indicators of that. If you look at the amount of investment that comes into India from different countries, and the leading Ps and VCs invest in India, and that in itself is a strong indicator of India being a land of economic opportunity.
And now it's time for us to listen into our next batch of people. The first one with us here is Nikita Jain.
I think, as everybody has been mentioning, India already is a land of opportunities, but there are a few factors that need to be focused on. Ease of doing business is one of the most important ones that I feel needs to be focused on. So the Union Budget 23-24 already reduced close to 39,000 compliances and decriminalized 3,400 provisions that were already there. So India is already doing a lot in this space. But with digitization coming into play, artificial intelligence and machine learning to our disposal, I think there's a lot that can be done in easing the regulatory landscape for businesses to, kind of thrive, grow, and most importantly, for people to stop fearing to start a new business. That's the key that India needs to focus on, to bring in FDI into India, to bring in new businesses. That's the key.
Now we have with us Payal Basu.
I definitely believe India is the land of opportunity, but again, with the opportunity, there's always more opportunity to improve. So I think the strategies which India is already taking can be more emphasized. Like, for example, the first thing that I want to stress is manufacturing. Currently, if you see the GDP, 18% is contributed by manufacturing, whereas the entire GDP is focused or driven mainly by service sector. If our government, our country, even our youth thinks about it on a broader scale, I think our economy is going to boom further.
Well, now let's listen into what Prashanta Khaitan has to say.
See, if we look at our economy, it's nothing but a macro of any organization. In organization, we have different products, different categories, etc. And then we, decide on which category we should invest. Right? And most of our decisions are based on profitability, productivity. India also has a similar kind of, product portfolio in terms of industry, services, etc. We should ideally believe in, transforming our economy. It's important that we do a structural transformation wherein we move our GDP contribution from services to manufacturing sector, which is far more productive than any other sector for that matter.
Let's welcome Pratik Jagdish Parekh.
India needs scale. We have millions and millions of tiny and small enterprises that can only cater to the micro markets that they operate into. To becoming a global and manufacturing powerhouse, we need to establish large-scale industries, boost our productions, including agriculture production, bring in efficiency and output that will make us globally competitive.
Next up, we have Rohit Gupta with us.
Against a global recessionary context, India has had a remarkable journey in the last decade or so, becoming the fifth largest world economy, fastest growing large economy, and also the consumption-led growth story for us has kept us insulated from these headwinds. But what got us here will not take us there. So three things I would like to touch upon. One is the reaping of the demographic dividend. Second is the filling of the credit gap. Third is digitalization as a force multiplier.
And the last name from this batch is of Rushit Shrav.
India is well poised to be a developed economy in the next 2 decades. And we have, most of the ammunition with us. One and more important is the sustainable growth of credit, in the economy. India today is one of, the best economy in terms of the private credit to GDP, almost just 55%, which is a far better number in terms of all the developed economies. So there is a big room for, growth in the credit space for India.
Now with that, let's quickly move on to our second last batch. So we have Sameer Agarwal.
First of all, I would like to say, we all agreed that we are living in the golden era of development in India. Infrastructure development and the policies, initiatives are at the fastest pace since independence. We have been performing much better in the sports, and like this, we have so many sectors where we can improve with the help of policies and the initiative of our entrepreneurs.
Next up, we have Sapna Mangwani.
We have the potential. The only thing that's left is execution and delivery that we are supposed to ensure. India, of course, is a land of economic opportunities. And the growth rate, we are on track of being the third largest economy by 2027. On this track, the growth has to be driven by investments, not by consumption.
I'd like to invite Saurabh Goyal.
I would like to say that India has always been a land of economic opportunities. That's why it was subjected to many invasions from outside. Nobody invades anything which has nothing to offer to anybody. So India has always been a land of economic opportunities. And regarding the trust, I would say that to showcase to gain the trust of the world, firstly, we need to trust ourselves.
Now we have with us Siddharth Naval.
as a country, we need to focus on two things: monetary capital and the human capital. Now, how do we become an investment destination, right? As a background, we already probably have first time as a country a very clear vision of this 5 trillion economy. First time a normal person on the street today, knows that country is moving towards this 5 trillion. That is, I think, itself is an achievement that we have a very, very clear outline vision that as a country what we want to do.
Well, the last name on this list is of Sumit Goyal.
So it clearly says like India is a land of economic growth. But to improve this infrastructure is the backbone of any country. So India has to significantly invest a lot more into infrastructure, including roads, ports, railways, etc.
Well, now we move on to the last and the final group today, and we will begin this batch with Neha Agarwal.
India being the world's third largest energy consumer, and with the energy demands which is continuously growing, still the coal being our largest source of energy, and our dependency on fossil fuel is still at 57%. RE initiatives definitely help in increasing the current RE infrastructure and RE power. I'm grateful that as a finance professional and part of renewable sector, I also can contribute my little bit with a commitment to join forces in the fight against this climate change.
Next, we have with us Vikas Goyal.
I've heard some great points from the fellow panel members, and of course, as a country, we are doing phenomenally well. I mean, this is probably the best time to be in India or a part of India.
Well, next up we have Vishal Pansari.
As the cities expand, there's a potential for the infrastructure development, housing and services. The second is manufacturing. The third one is about the digital transformation.
And with that, we finally have with us Vivek Bhanawat.
Few of our colleagues rightly said, we are not the chartered accountant who's doing just accounting work. We are the business enabler who are driving the strategy for our business, who are the part of the key. We have key initiatives which we are taking for our business, to growing our business.
Thank you everyone once again for sharing such great insights, ideas and suggestions. But before we wrap up this town hall today, I would like to get some closing comments from CA Durgesh Kabra, who's the chairman of CMIB ICAI.
I would say that if India need to grow with the same pace, then reforms in the economic policies, manufacturing policies are must. It has to continue. That is why the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India has also come out with this concept of CA Business Leaders 40 Under 40 Award. It's a recognition of all young chartered accountants, which has performed exceedingly well into their organization. And ICAI would continue to do this. So the members of the ICAI can add to the nation's economy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kabra. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the ICAI Presents CA Business Leaders Awards 40 Under 40 Virtual Town Hall in association with CNBC TV 18.
ICAI presents CA Business Leaders 40 Under 40 Season 2 in association with CNBC TV 18. Process partner, Care Edge Ratings. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.